So, today I'm talking about the biggest causes of anxiety in children and what we can do to put it right. Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've seen a big increase of the amount of calls coming in for children with mental health issues, including anxiety, stress, and depression. And it's sad to see that it is getting worse. The world is changing. So, what we're going to do is go through the most common causes and then look at some of the ways that we can help to reduce that anxiety and put things right. So, the first one is being around a parent or a close family member who also has anxiety problems. Now, we don't catch anxiety, but children do mop up like a sponge the things that are going on around them. And this is where we naturally model or program ourselves with anxiety because we see that behavior all the time. So if there's somebody else in the family who's got anxiety issues, they need to be addressed. And to give you some examples, recently we worked with a lovely family. A lovely little girl was struggling to sleep at night. She'd get off to sleep and then wake up repeatedly, take a while to settle down. And as I worked with this little girl, it was very clear to see that mum was quite anxious and stressed and she didn't realize it. So, very gently, I had a word and said, look, we all need to relax and get this down. And about a week or so later, I got a lovely email to say, this has been amazing. We're all now working to take our anxiety down. I'm sorry I didn't realize this was going on. But that is quite a common thing. A second example was we had a child brought in who had some pretty poor behaviors, but it was definitely anxiety. But we could see very quickly that mum was very, very anxious, but she wasn't aware of it because she was taking anti-anxiety medication. And sadly, when we mentioned this to mum, she did not want to change that situation. She didn't want to deal with her own anxiety, and we couldn't do an awful lot to help. So you do need to look at the home and say, is there anybody here who's got anxiety issues or other issues? And we need to work to sort those out for the good health of everybody else. The second cause of anxiety in children is conflict at home. Now, homes can be very different, but it should be a nice, quiet place where people are encouraged, they feel comfortable and happy. But children are very, very sensitive to raised voices, to arguments, to loud discussions. And yes, there are some families who just shout and scream at each other, although they think that's the norm. And the challenge with that is some kids can be resilient to it, and they're absolutely fine. But a lot of children are more sensitive than we ever know, and they soak that up again like a sponge, and it causes anxiety issues. So we know what we need to do. We just need to be aware of what's going on in the home and calm it down. Number three is parental alienation, and this is absolutely exploding at the moment. So parental alienation is where a couple split and one parent decides they don't want to deal with the other parent and decide that the child shouldn't have a relationship with that parent. And slowly, it's usually the resident parent, chips away at the child, false allegations, lies, things that aren't true, and slowly they turn that child away from the other parent. Now, it's got some side effects to doing this. When we do that again and again, we see those children then struggle with anxiety, depression, and other problems at school. They then struggle with relationships. But as they go through life, the problems get worse, whether they are aware they've been alienated or not. And typically, children who are brought up by a parent with psychological issues then struggle with problems later on. They're much more likely to alienate another parent. They're going to have psychological issues and really struggle with relationships in life. And we see this all of the time. But sadly, the current system at the moment doesn't look at the best interests of the children. Number four is a big one, poor diet. As life's got busier, we're really moving into convenience. Usually both parents are needing to work, and freshly prepared food 5, 6, 7 times a week is not happening for most families now. And the challenge with this is our brains are just like cars. If we don't give it the right food, it doesn't run properly. But children go through a lot of brain development, and there's a lot of studies and links to say if people don't eat the right food, it knocks their IQ, it knocks their intelligence. It doesn't just harm the brain, it causes lots of issues. And typically, if children are not eating freshly made food most days, and then they're eating all the regular junk and snacks and high sugar, high fat, high salt, and artificial sweeteners, it's got a bang on effect and can cause anxiety. Thankfully, if we catch that early enough, that's easy enough to sort out. And typically, what we do is we get each client tested to find out what's going on, and then we can recommend vitamins or minerals and give some education about the foods that we need to go into. Number five, pressures from school. This is becoming quite a big thing. So we see a lot of children who were perfect students in primary school suddenly go up to the bigger school. There's lots of new rules, there's lots of new children, there's lots of new teachers who are typically stressed, and the kids have a bit of a meltdown. Then they don't want to go to school, their attendance isn't as good, and we see typical anxiety of vomiting, getting headaches, not doing well, not able to retain information. And it's quite a horrible thing for the children to go through. And it's really difficult as a parent because then we're kind of stuck. We don't usually have a choice of schools where the children can go to, but the children don't want to go to school. And it's such a big thing, but it's worth being aware of. Number six is similar, big changes. As we're kids, we go through life and the world changes around us, including schools. But if there's divorces, if there's death, if there's house moves, all of this can affect the children and they don't always react in the best way. And again, this can really cause anxiety, stress, and depression. And finally, number seven is a big, big one that we're just starting to become really aware about, and this is screen time. We're born to move. We're born to get out and get sunshine, to enjoy food and to play and be creative. But now we've got these very addictive screens, and some of the children that we see are spending ridiculous number of hours looking at these screens on these devices, shutting themselves off from the world around them and not communicating with people. And boy, do they have problems. And thankfully, the government seem to be stepping in now. It looks like there's going to be some changes, but social media and screen time is not good for children if it's excessive. And this is where parents, we need to put our foot down and limit the amount of time per day. So do your own research and see what you think is the best way to handle that. So in the next video, we're going to start talking about the things we can do to improve our children's mental health, to take that anxiety and any other problems that are there. I'll see you in the next video.